Okay, so for those of you who just joined us, there are a few people still coming into the room. Welcome to Toilet Training Tips and Tricks. We're so happy to have you here for the fifth in the series of parenting webinars that we began hosting this fall. With more than 30 years in business, Cadence Education has established itself as one of the premier early childhood educators in the United States. We're proud to serve over 30,000 families across the country, operating more than 300 private preschools and elementary schools that prepare students to thrive in their school-age years and beyond. At Cadence Education, our promise is to provide parents with peace of mind by giving children an exceptional education every fun-filled day in a place as nurturing as home. We're committed to fostering strong relationships with our families and providing meaningful communication to support your child's development. The Cadence Parent Partnership Series is a new resource that we began offering earlier this fall. Our webinars are designed to help you navigate common parenting challenges while supporting your child's growth and development. We're so pleased that you've chosen to spend this time with us today as we discuss a topic that every parent deals with, toilet training. Whether you're a new parent or a seasoned one, understanding the stages of toilet training and learning some tips and tricks can help you navigate through this stage of development more easily for you and for your child. We're so glad you're here with us, and we're looking forward to sharing insights and strategies during this session. Before we dive into today's content, let's take a moment to introduce ourselves. I'm Maggie Walsh, Vice President of Education here at Cadence Education. I bring 25 years of experience in teaching and professional development, and I'm passionate about supporting educators and families in fostering children's growth and success. Joining me today is my colleague, Paula Hermano.
Thanks, Maggie. Hi, I'm Paula Hermano, Director of Programs for Montessori Schools, with 20 years of experience in infant, toddler, and early childhood programs, teacher education and school leadership. I am very thrilled to be here today.
Paul and I are both very happy to be part of the Cadence Education organization. Our goal is to support your children's teachers, school directors, and you families as we work together to create enriching educational experiences. Thank you for allowing us to connect with you today. Over the next half hour, we'll focus on understanding the stages of potty training development and share effective tips and tricks that you can use to help your child learn this important life skill. We're also excited to address some questions from several of the families who submitted them ahead of time. These will be covered during the Q&A portion at the end of our session. We also have the Q&A open during this meeting. It's being actively monitored by a member of our team, so feel free to share questions as we go along, and those that we can't get to today, we'll make sure to follow up on in one of our FAQs that we'll provide next week. Lastly, we want you to know that all the resources we discussed today, along with a recording of this webinar, will be shared with you in a follow-up email next week. So there's no need to worry about taking any notes. We've got you covered. Let's get into the content that we've prepared for you today. You might already be aware that potty training involves a few different stages of progression. In fact, the Northern Illinois University Child Development and Family Center summarizes potty training in 4 distinct stages. Stage 1 is toilet play. Stage 2 is referred to as toilet practice. Stage 3, toilet learning. And stage 4, independent toileting. Before we dig into these stages and share some tips, we want you to remember that your child's teacher will support your child in whatever stage they are at. There is not just one way to potty train, and your child's teacher will also likely have some tips and strategies that work best in the school setting as compared to the home setting. Please make sure to ask them about how they practice at school if you're interested in learning more. Our teachers are here to support you and your child. The Cleveland Clinic recommends that the best time for supporting a child in potty training is somewhere between the ages of 2.5 and 3.5 years old. That's because children who are this age have the gross motor skills that are more well-developed, which is important for bowel control and other toileting behaviors like walking, sitting, removing clothing, etc. In addition, children between these ages have the verbal skills that they need to tell you when they need or want to go to the bathroom. They're also more likely to have an interest in following you into the bathroom or wearing underwear. Finally, they are likely to have more awareness and sensitivity towards their diaper or urine or bowel movements. So, sometime during this time frame of 2.5 to 3.5 years old, children can begin to be exposed to the wonders of the toilet. And remember, to your child, it really is wondrous. Of course, some children might show an interest in starting to potty train earlier or later than this time frame, so be on the lookout for what I'll describe as stages 1 and 2. Stage 1 is defined by toilet play. Children in this stage will do things like pretend to go potty or bathroom, usually with their clothes still on. They will also start to observe other adults and or children in the household when they go to the bathroom. They might want to follow you into the bathroom or watch you or ask you questions about what you're doing. Finally, they will start to show an interest in the toilet itself. They'll want to know what it is and why you're using it. During stage 2, children will begin to practice a lot of these skills that they need to become independent using the toilet. This stage of potty training involves so much practice. Your child will want to practice flushing the toilet, watching the water go down and fill up again. They'll also be able to try to remove their clothing, such as taking off their pants, although they'll probably still need your help to do so. Some might even want to remove their socks when they're practicing too. They might also try to take off their diaper on their own in order to practice using the potty. They will practice on the potty chair that you have, or they'll want to sit on the toilet with your help or a toilet seat. They will also be able to squat or practice standing in front of the toilet. You might notice them squatting during playtime, and they might even tell you that they're practicing going to the potty. They will also be able to wash their hands, and they'll want to practice doing so with you or on their own. Finally, stage 2 comes with an overall awareness of their diaper and whether it's dry, wet, or soiled. They might need their diaper, they might not always tell you that they need their diaper changed, but they can likely answer questions about its status when you ask them. Paula will share some tips with us on the next couple of slides.
Thanks, Maggie. So, creating the right environment is essential. It's about making the experience accessible, comfortable, and empowering for the child. The first one on our list is deciding whether to use a child-sized toilet seat that you can put on top of your regular toilet or a child-sized potty chair. This allows your child to feel comfortable and in control. It is important to choose a potty that fits their size so they don't feel intimidated or awkward. If you prefer the regular toilet, a step stool is necessary. It gives your child the support to sit on the toilet independently. The step stool should be sturdy and the right height to help your child feel secure as they approach the toilet. Then children's books. These wonderful tools normalize the potty learning experience and help your child develop a better understanding of the process in a fun and engaging way. They provide a playful narration of what to expect while offering encouragement through relatable characters and stories. Make sure to also have a set of clean underwear or training pants and clothes in a cubby or a basket. It's important to allow your child the opportunity to change themselves if needed. This not only supports independence, but also helps them feel in control of the process. Then keep cleaning supplies within reach, such as wipes or small spray bottle with water and a paper towel. Children can begin to learn how to clean up after themselves in an appropriate and supportive way. This helps them understand responsibility and care for their own environment. And then timer. A timer can be useful for establishing routines, especially as you begin your potty training. Setting a timer reminds both you and your child when it's time to try. But don't feel pressured to buy this. It's optional. The goal is to build consistent routine, find helpful cues, and not force it. So these are just examples of setting up the space and a basket of essential items. And the next photo here is just some examples having a child-sized potty or setting up a child-sized toilet seat on a regular toilet. Now Maggie will talk about the next stage of potty training.
Thanks, Paula. So children who are at this point, stage 3, toilet learning, will have an even further developed set of gross motor skills. They will start to connect the feeling of needing to urinate or have a bowel movement with the action of going. They will also likely be more excited to share their successful attempts to use the toilet. Sometimes they might even sit on the potty and tell you that they have gone, even though there is no output. This is part of the learning process. They will show an interest in wearing real underwear, maybe even asking you to get them some. When they feel the need to go, they will show you with gestures, or they might verbally tell you or use facial expressions. Children who are learning about potty training will also be able to hold their urine for longer periods of time and express the desire to be clean. Previously, they might have shown less sensitivity toward being wet or soiled. Now they will likely tell you when they need to be changed. At this stage, your child will be able to pull their pants up and down for themselves, and they will be able to sit down on the toilet on their own. Now, back to Paula for some additional tips.
Mhm. So, another key to successful potty learning is offering a steady, supportive transition. Start with small, manageable steps to avoid overwhelming your child. Narrating the diapering process is a simple yet powerful way to help your child understand their bodily functions, even before beginning potty learning. From infancy, talking through each step, such as saying, I'm changing your diaper now, or your diaper's wet, so we're getting you clean and dry. That creates connection and builds awareness. This early communication lays the foundation for a smoother transition when it's time to dedicate your time to potty training. And then, you can encourage your child to undress themselves. This helps them develop independence and gives them a sense of ownership over the process. Start by offering easy to remove clothes such as elastic waistbands and praise them for their efforts. Then continue reading potty books. Many children love the stories and pictures, which helps them relate to the experience more comfortably. Introduce and name the potty items. Show that there is an established area for them. Show your child the potty seat, the step stool, and any other tools that will be part of their routine. Encourage exploration and engagement by turning it into a simple game. Ask your child to point to or name each item. For example, where is your potty seat? And allow them to point to it. As their language develops, you can ask, what is this? While pointing to an item, then give them the opportunity to name it. It's also important to let your child sit on the potty without pressure or expectations. At first, just allow them to get used to sitting there even if they don't do anything. This reduces stress and creates a positive association with potty. Then, when ready, establish a regular schedule by starting with one designated potty time each day, perhaps in the morning when your child wakes up or after meal. As they become more comfortable, gradually add more potty times, such as after snacks or before naps. Consistency is key, so once you establish a routine, stick to it every day. This predictability helps your child develop awareness and confidence in the process. As your child becomes more accustomed to the schedule, increase the number of visits to the potty. The more opportunities your child has to practice toileting throughout the day, the greater their confidence and mastery of the process will become. Pay attention to your child's signals too. If they are fidgeting or holding themselves, it's time to try again. Gentle observations help Gentle observation helps you create a more responsive routine and allows your child to feel heard in the process. As you transition to recognizing cues and your child begins expressing the need to go, you can gradually reduce the frequency of visits while maintaining the key routine moments, such as using the toilet upon waking, before bed, before leaving the house, and after snacks. Maintaining a positive and supportive approach is essential for building your child's confidence throughout potty learning. Celebrate small successes and encourage their efforts. Be clear and consistent with your language. Use simple, straightforward phrases like, it's time to go potty, or we can try again later if you're not ready. Clear and concise communication is something your young children can adapt to can adapt to, and it helps reduce confusion. And then you can praise specific actions. Rather than frequently saying good job or wow, amazing, you may shift your praises to focus on specific actions. For example, you can say, you pulled your pants down all by yourself. This type of praise acknowledges your child's efforts and reinforces their independence. And of course, be prepared for setbacks too, accidents, and moments of hesitations. Potty learning is a gradual process, and children might regress or become unsure. So remain calm and understanding. Gently remind your child that accidents happen and it's all part of the learning journey. Stay calm and positive even during setbacks. The more relaxed you are, the more relaxed your child will be. Model a calm attitude by acknowledging mistakes and refocusing on the next opportunity to try. Supporting your child's natural development in toilet learning creates a smoother, more positive experience. By avoiding pressure and honoring their curiosity, you foster independence, confidence, and a sense of control. Trusting their readiness and pace builds a strong foundation for a long term success. So this one, are great tools too. You can incorporate fun tools like potty chart or jar. These serve as a visual reminder of progress and can encourage your child when they reach milestones. Be mindful that rewards should be simple and not overshadow the intrinsic reward of learning. And lastly, remember that the best rewards are your emotional support during this time, your hugs and kisses. Those are enough. They provide reassurance and reinforce your child's sense of security. While external rewards like stickers are fun, the real prize is your consistent love and encouragement through the learning process. This approach, rooted in patience, consistency, and respect for the child's pace, encourages both independence and a positive connection with potty learning. And now we're moving to the last stage. Maggie?
Thanks, Paula. That was great. Okay, so just because a child is at this fourth stage called independent toileting doesn't really mean that everything is always going to be smooth sailing. There are still phases of progression even within the independent stage. So, for example, being able to urinate in the toilet is usually the first potty training win. You will likely want to continue using diapers or pull-ups between trips to the bathroom until your child has mastered you being able to urinate in the toilet. Bowel movements in the potty come next, and they do take longer for most kids. Bowel movements can be scary for toddlers. They don't happen as often, and so they're a little bit tougher to practice. Staying dry all day without accidents can take anywhere from a few weeks to a few months. But staying dry all night will come last, and that will take several months to, for some children, even a few years. I want to take a minute and talk with you about some of the common struggles that many parents face and children too during potty training. One of the biggest ones is being able to produce a bowel movement. Children can face a lot of fear and anxiety around it. Kids can sit and just not feel like they're able to release. To help your child, you can do things like run water, or you can keep some Play-Doh nearby the toilet, which can be a really good distraction to play with in their hands while they're waiting. Even keep a bottle of bubbles for your child to blow. By taking deep breaths, that can help your child relax, which can help ease the release. Finally, also singing songs can be very helpful. That's because singing loosens the lips, which in turn loosens the sphincter. Another struggle that happens is that children can get easily distracted by play. They don't want to have to stop and use the toilet. This can result in them waiting too long and then having to rush to the toilet and sometimes not make it in time. You can help them by using that optional timer that Paula talked about. When you're first beginning, you might want to set the timer every 30 minutes, but as your child is able to hold their urine longer, you can extend that timer to every 90 minutes to even 120 minutes before you're reminding them to go to the toilet again. You just need to tell your child that when the timer goes off, it's going to be time to stop for a few minutes and use the potty, and then they can go back to their play. You can also try and remind them ahead of playtime that they will need to take a quick break when it's time to practice going to the potty. Nighttime accidents and setbacks will definitely happen, but you need to really work on trying to keep your child's spirits up when they do. Potty training should try and stay positive. You don't want to shame your child or offer them a punishment. Bedwetting really is typically not considered a problem until the child is 8 years old and wets the bed at least 2 times a month, according to pediatricians from the Cleveland Clinic. Most of the time, bedwetting goes away on its own as your child's bladder grows and they learn to be able to better sense their needs. Finally, some children are just very slow to show an interest or sensitivity regarding diapering and potty training. So if your child's not interested yet, or they don't seem to be bothered by having a soiled diaper, don't panic. You can still read to them about potty training and try to encourage them to come with you to the bathroom to develop their interest in stage 1 toilet play. So these are some examples of what I'll call high-tech books that incorporate music and sound into the story. They might mimic the sound of flushing or hand washing. They might have a little song to sing about the toilet or toilet training or potty training practice. You definitely don't need all 3 of these books, but maybe your child gravitates more towards like Daniel Tiger or Elmo, and so maybe that might be the one that you want to go with. All of these are available on Amazon. These are low-tech books, no sound or song incorporated, but you might see one with one of the children's icons, Miss Rachel, who has a book on potty training. All of these books are appropriate for any child who's interested in learning more about potty training, but I will note that the book that's called I Want My Potty is more of a story than it is a training book. We also wanted to select and identify some books for you, adults, on potty training as well. There are so many different books on potty training, and unfortunately, they just don't all align. Some of the books are going to tell you to do things that others are going to tell you not to do. That's because there is more than one right way to potty train. Part of what you need to decide is what your boundaries and expectations are and what will work best for you, your child, and your lifestyle. With that in mind, these are some popular books that are well reviewed. You might want to get 1 or 2 of them to get a range of ideas and advice, picking the parts from each that resonate best with you. I'll say a little bit more about the book, The Holy Grail of Potty Training by Tasha Powers and Stephen Graham. This book is written by actual pediatric occupational therapists. So it's great if you're not feeling like you're big on a reward system and you're interested in supporting your child with a gentle way to potty train. The book, which one is it? The First Time Parent's Guide to Potty Training, How to Ditch Diapers Fast and for Good. One of the things that I wanted to mention about this one is that it's a really easy read and it gives you quite straightforward potty training tips to help you and your child feel successful. This book is also not about bribery or external rewards. It's another example of gentle support for potty training. Paula will take us through a summary of our tips on the next slide.
Mhm. So, in summary, successful toilet learning involves understanding the stages of potty training and preparing both your child and their environment for a smooth transition. Creating supportive setup, maintaining gentle transitions with consistent routines, and using positive motivation help foster confidence and independence. Partnering with your school community can provide additional support and reinforcement, ensuring a collaborative approach to this important milestone. If you've tried these tips and tricks and don't feel like your child is making progress, partner with your school director to create a plan or seek additional advice. Our directors and teachers have supported hundreds of families who have children that are potty training. They're probably working with your child at school already and will have some helpful tips to share with you. Now, Maggie, for our Q&A.
Great. So we have several questions. We had a lot of questions that were submitted ahead of time. We won't be able to get to all of them, but we are going to put together an FAQ to address the commonly submitted questions, but we have time to answer several of them with you today. The first one is representative of quite a few questions that we got from lots of families. This family member is wondering, how do I help my child who will pee in the potty but will not poop in the potty? He would rather poop in his training underwear or his pull-ups. First, I'll just say this is a very common issue both for boys and girls. As I mentioned earlier, anxiety around bowel movements is a typical challenge. Remember that children usually only have one or maybe two bowel movements in a day, so they just don't get to practice going as much as when they have to urinate. Also, children tend to feel more comfortable having a bowel movement in their pull-up or their diaper or their training pants because they have some emotional security in knowing that someone will change them. There still are a couple of things that you can do to help your child with this issue, though. First, talk to them about how important it is to have a bowel movement in the potty. Read books together that reinforce this idea. Tell your child that they need to try and use the potty when it's time to go. Then you need to help your child by trying to be a little bit more vigilant about watching your child's behaviors. For example, are they disappearing from you around the corner and hiding from you? Or are they crouching down into a little ball under a table? These are some signs that they might be getting ready to work on a bowel movement. When you see this, tell them that you think that they need to try and use the potty because that's where we go for bowel movements. They might resist, but remind them of the books that you've read and ask them where you go to poop, and they will tell you that it's the potty, and they will probably be willing to accompany you. Then you need to be prepared to just wait a little longer for bowel movements. Run water, sing songs, have some bubbles that they can blow. Try to make the bowel movements easier and more enjoyable. The sensation can be a little off-putting to children, which is another reason why they might be avoiding the potty. In general, children do learn to urinate on the potty before they have bowel movements consistently. So you will get there, but it just can take some time. Paula, I'm going to give you this next question. This
Sure.
parent is saying, what's the best way to work together with their daycare teacher to potty train together? And are pull-ups better once their child starts potty training?
Yeah, great. Yeah, I'm glad that you're already thinking about collaborating. So, to work effectively with your daycare teacher on potty training, start by communicating your intentions with both the teacher and the director. Get their insights on whether your child is showing readiness and signs at daycare and align on a consistent approach to avoid confusion. If you've already started potty training at home, share your methods to both home and daycare practices so that you can match. Regarding training pants, pull-ups, or underwear, it really depends on your child's comfort and preference. It's different for each child. So the key here is the consistency. So once you transition away from diapers, avoid switching back to avoid confusion. So be mindful of that independence and the clothing and the pull-ups that you're going to choose, and just make sure that you're consistent in your choices.
Thanks,
Maggie?
Paula. Yep, I'll take this next one.
Mhm.
So this is from a family member who's wondering how they can help a young toddler with a speech delay who seems interested in using the toilet but cannot yet verbalize their needs. And what I'll say to this is that sign language is a great tool to use with children who are either nonverbal or who have speech delays. Teach them the sign for potty, which is just your fist with your thumb. I'll try to show you here with your thumb in between your index finger and your middle finger. And then you just shake like this, right? So it's kind of like shaking the handle on the toilet. Or pooping, which is using two hands. And I'll turn my hand this way. You have your thumb coming out and down like this, right? So those are two signs that you can utilize and teach your child. And then you can still, even though your child might be nonverbal or have a speech delay, you can still read them books and still talk with them about needing to go and what to do. As your child moves through those 4 different stages that we described today, you can begin to establish a schedule, and your child can start to indicate with sign language when they need to try to use the potty, or they can tell you when they've had an accident as well. I think we've got time to fit in one last question, Paula. This one is,
Sure.
how do you even begin overnight potty training? And do you wake your child up in the middle of the night to try to have them go?
Yeah. So this is the last probably like the process that your child will be able to master. So before jumping to that, you have to ensure your child has fully mastered daytime toilet independence. Once they consistently stay dry during the day, start with nap time training before moving to overnight. Limit liquids before bedtime, have them use the toilet right before sleeping, and consider waterproof mattress protector. Be patient as night training takes longer. Offer praise for dry nights and stay consistent. I would not consider waking them up so that like they can learn really how to have that sleep, the process. So just stick to really concentrating on nap time first and then move to overnight and limit those liquid and just make sure that your child uses the potty before sleeping. Bladder control takes a while for like that development, a while for children.
Thanks, Paula. That
Mhm.
is all that we have time for today, but we will follow up. Please consider giving us your feedback on today's session. It'll only take you a minute. You can scan this QR code. We'll also provide a link to the feedback survey in next week's follow-up email. This is also next week, we'll send the recording, like we mentioned, and the titles and authors of all of the books, including the books for adults as well, and the FAQ that we're putting together. Consider joining us next month on March 12th when Shelley and Ashley will lead a session on creative, fun ways to help foster healthy eating habits for young children. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you.